Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, CardHoarder.com, Alter Sleeves, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters just like you. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTG Nerd Girl.
Hey, guys.
Ruben Bressler.
Good evening. How are things?
The internet's Ruben Bressler. Everything is
That's right.
Lovely. We had a really cool pre-show. If you missed it, we got to kind of hang out broadcasting live because we got the sweet handoff from MTG Nerd Girl onto this very channel, which is great. Well, we also kick it off with our first pick and our giveaway. Get your chance at $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffInc.com by typing !raffle in the chat, but subscribe first to get 2 chances to win. Use those Bezos bucks. And support your favorite streamer with your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight. Spoiler alert, it's MTG Nerd Girl, but most of the time we choose differently, but it's because of special circumstances. The point is that is thanks to our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. It's Kamigawa Release Day! We did it!
Woo! We got there.
Oh my God. 15, 16-ish years later almost, we have ourselves a second Kamigawa set. I gotta hate, look, the set looked fantastic, but I was blown away by how well it played. Seriously, this is one of the best Magic releases that's come out. I mean, I'm trying to think of one. Maybe Strixhaven was as good, but even I like this way better than Strixhaven. You know, obviously, it's new and it's shiny, but like so far, I love the decision trees, the amount of different options you have, and the really close games that these types of designs make.
So far for limited, I've only done sealed, haven't done draft. I would say my initial impression is that I still think I might have liked Strixhaven more, but this is good. I mean, this is better than we've had in a while.
Yeah. My experience is that I've played nothing but draft. So we've got all 3 of the pillars here. My experience is that it's really fun and interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to see something quite as unique as Strixhaven. It's not even as unique, I would say, as War of the Spark, right? Where with Strixhaven, you have lesson and learn, which changed the whole paradigm.
Right.
With War of the Spark, you had uncommon planeswalkers, which changed the whole paradigm. In terms of traditional Magic, as I view it, this is the best regular old limited format that I've really played since like Dominaria.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed Strixhaven more, I think, but that was such a weird microcosm that in my first day of playing, I'd feel like it was the most rewarding experience I've had with a limited format in a very long time.
One of the things I'm a little concerned with, and I talked about this a lot in my set review, is that there are a ton of different archetypes. All 10 guilds are represented, but they're not equally supported. For example, Boros has 4 or 5 multicolor cards, and Azorius and Orzhov have 1 multicolor card. So those tiny sub-archetypes are not really supported, so it actually kind of punishes you for making those decisions kind of earlier in the draft. Again, I haven't drafted yet, so I don't know, but I'm going to be really... Strixhaven had very clear, defined 5 archetypes. It feels more like there are 2.5, and then a bunch of little ones that are not quite supported. So you kind of get these decks where they're half Cs, which I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it.
Yeah. I've played some sealed. I've played a draft or 2, and I've played it in constructed. I've been like the fact that you mix in ninjutsu with creatures that are sagas to start with. That alone is a huge thing. And on top of that, you have the equipment that can attach to things, then unattach to things. And again, this is in lots of different colors. The sort of the traditional enchantment stuff versus the new age artifact stuff works really super well. The stuff that you care about an enchantment and an artifact being in play seems to work over a bunch of different archetypes that I've seen so far. Vehicles are great and they work all over the place. I've been, you know, again, so far, like the fact that people do things like they'll get creatures or permanents out of their graveyard and then they'll channel those cards to do something cool. Like, man, there's so many weird little interactions like that.
I've been very impressed by, if I looked at a list of what Kamigawa Neon Dynasty was trying to accomplish, I feel like I would look at that list and go, you got to cut something. You gotta do the Coco Chanel and take 1 accessory off before you leave the house, right? We're trying to reconfigure and do sagas that turn into creatures and channel and ninjutsu and have these attack alone triggers. Like
vehicles.
And vehicles. We're trying to do too much. But it turns out that it all actually meshes nicely together. I think one of the big keys is like what you mentioned, having an enchantment and an artifact. Right. Those cards really tie the room together in a really nice way. The enchantment creatures are a big deal, even if they don't necessarily, scream, this is an enchantment. Things like the colossal turtle, the big turtle being an enchantment creature is relevant.
Right.
Having artifact creatures, even though it might not necessarily look like it should be an artifact creature, but having it thematically be an artifact creature is mechanically relevant. And so the way that they've sort of finagled the numbers have actually made what seems a little bit unwieldy of a set to work.
And then on top of that was the modified, right? Are you equipped? Do you have a counter? Like all of those things are still triggering and stuff to think about, but it all meshes so crazy well. I'm really impressed. Just
very impressed.
I had high expectations, but
we'll see how we feel in a couple weeks once we've played a lot of this limited format. But for now, it seems great.
First impressions are really, really good. If you hadn't seen, there is a visual novel. They did an entire manga, as I understand it, which is fantastic. You can go check that out. There's the links are going to be in the show notes if you're looking for that stuff. Let's see here. It is the wordiest set ever. Officially the wordiest set. Even whether or not you count the double face cards or not, it is the wordiest set.
Well, it has, I believe that Crimson Vow had more total words. But in terms of words per face, yes, it's the wordiest set of all time. And it's no surprise. I mean, you need so many words to let people know what channel does, what reconfigure does. Like those are and ninjutsu these are all very complicated abilities.
I would actually be really surprised if that was true, that Crimson Vow had more text, because I feel like the cards in this set have a lot more stuff going on, and a lot of the cards, like all of the dragons, even the rares have like, Hitsugu, the frog guy, like all of the rares are just like a paragraph. So even if, depending on the flip side, whatever stuff, I would still, my guess would be that this is still the wordier one, but I obviously didn't do the math.
Right. What they have is the average Oracle text length on the front sides and the average Oracle length on both sides. And in both sides, it can lose to Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, but on the front sides, it is the wordiest. But, all those sagas do a lot of different things in all the different chapters, which is cool. Like, this is one of those things where, like, I'm fine with it being this wordy. But on the other half of it is that I really hope they're striving for more elegant designs. Yeah. More words does not mean better set, but we also are over here gushing about how sweet the set is. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that more words is either better or worse. I just happen to think that the mechanics that they decided to employ require a lot of words. You gotta put a lot of words on a Magic card to do what Kappa Tech Wrecker does. Like, comes in with a keyword counter. When it deals damage, you can do some stuff, and it does this, and it does this.
Also has ninjutsu.
Right. This dragon has 2 dice triggers that count very specific numbers. And, everything it has a lot happening. Not to mention stuff like Hitgetsugu, who are just, it's a paragraph of just its ability. No other card does that second activated ability. So, I think that it's neither better nor worse, but we are going to have to deviate back to the mean at some point.
I disagree. As the person who does the live and article set review, it is worse.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking.
Oh, all right. Well,
I have to read them all out loud.
I would have defaulted to whatever you said, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah, reading comprehension is very difficult.
I have these here just because my mouth just kept like dying. I was just
yeah. It's unseasonably hot here, so I've been drinking a lot more water, and trying to focus on new Magic cards that all do 85 things is very difficult.
Yeah, I've definitely found myself like going, oh, that enchantment that turns into the token where it's star equal to the lands you control.
Yeah,
that has reach, and I didn't catch that one on the first read, and it got me.
Sneaky reach.
There's a couple of creatures in this set that have the sneaky reach. There's a 5-mana 4/4 spirit called Blossoming something that looks like a deer. That has reach just for no reason.
Just because
I was very upsetting. But yeah,
reach. 4/4?
Yeah, the 5-mana 4/4. Yeah, there's a couple of them in this set where I'm just like, why does this card have this ability?
But like, and it's one of like
a deer.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a big deer, right? It's a big...
Sure, but but it's got... I get that it has antlers. You're blocking my flyers with your antlers?
It's Princess Mononoke deer, right? Like
there you go. See
the spirit.
Look, one of the other keys to why this set is so sweet is because ninjutsu, being ninjutsu, there's so many ways you can kind of rebuy these really cool abilities.
Yes,
there wasn't that many cool abilities back in the day. Like we didn't have enters the battlefield, do 2 damage to something, or look at the top 5 and get a thing or whatever. Like there's some really cool stuff to pick up these days.
Yeah,
that didn't exist back then.
Absolutely.
The green ninjutsu card is insane. So like I played a 2-drop and then used the creature, the 4-drop that like has reach and burn, the red one that you can like shock with it.
Yeah, that card's sick.
Yes,
so then I burnt their thing, and then the next turn attacked ninjutsu'd on the 6/5 attacker on turn 4, getting that creature back, and then getting to untap and burn all their shit again.
Wow.
Oh my god, so good.
Oh, like I played against the guy with the Kiki Jiki saga, and he also had the 4-mana guy, and I was like, are you serious? This game's over, and it was.
So good.
It was sick. So there is an official manga now, which is great. The official cinematic is out. I really need to go watch that because I heard it was really good. And there's supposed to be like another cinematic in a week, which is also awesome.
Cool.
Well, I'll take it. But either way, successful launch, really cool. Few little bugs on Magic Online. I'm sure they'll figure that out. But overall, I've been very pleased with the Arena experience.
I have too. And the new play space on Arena is also really nice, where you have sort of like your porch on your foreground, and then there's like a little bit of a koi pond on your opponent's board. And if you click the bonsai trees in the corners, they do like cool pixelated static effects, and it's really nice.
Oh, that's awesome. And that ninjutsu, the little flying things around the card when you can ninjutsu.
That's sweet looking.
Isn't that awesome? That is awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's what I want to see. Those little details that just show that they really cared about making this cool and thematic and interesting.
Yeah.
That was really sweet. All right, let's move on here to Gather the Townsfolk. That, of course, is brought to you by our sponsor, CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. Check them out. Tell them we sent you and said hello. Moving on here to Gather the Townsfolk, as we have some really cool promos. The APAC League events. This is the Year of the Tiger, and so they are making them. Let me get these on screen here in just 2 seconds. Y'all feel some time, would you? Oops.
So it is, of course, the Year of the Tiger, and as a result, a lot of new promotional cards came out. We saw last year when they did the Year of the Ox. There was a number of like things like Sethron, Herloon General came out, and some tokens. This year, we've got a bunch of really cool promos.
Nice.
Yeah, they started with the Teamer Sabertooth. That card is well loved.
Yes.
So there's not too many tigers in Magic, but there's a few.
And Teamer Sabertooth is one of, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of like the top 30 most played cards in Commander, or creatures, I should say. Creatures in Commander. Non-legendary creatures. I keep making it even smaller of a... But anyway, I mean, for a like a 2 colorless, 2 green, uncommon that you might not have thought was that popular, it's when you're able to sort of rebuy come into play abilities, as we've seen from ninjutsu, it's really powerful. So it's a great one to get a reprint.
All right, so I have it on screen right here for your review. Check them out. We have Teamer Sabertooth, who is worth like a whole bunch of money, as I recall, because it has a very unique ability.
Yep. I mean, for an uncommon, certainly it's very expensive.
Right. Jedit Ojanen. which straight from, old school Legends.
Yeah, Legends.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is a legendary cat warrior that showed up as an uncommon in Legends, so it wasn't on the reserve list, which is nice. It's a super cool version of it. This is the first extended art creature with no type line, I believe is the way they said this.
Correct. So we had the Blind Phantasm cycle in Future Sight, right? Where we had full art creatures before. This is the first time that we've had A, with the traditional frame and the traditional mana cost, and B, without the creature type. Jedit is just a vanilla 5/5 for 7 from Legends, because that's what you had when you had Legends. But it's also dope. Like, what a cool... if you were going to try to imagine a way to print Jedit and make people care about it, this is the only way to do it.
I love it. Look,
nice.
Yeah, this is great. And, there were some people who were complaining about it. And I'm like, guys, I lived through textless cryptic command. There ain't nothing you can make extended, leaving off so-and-so info that wasn't as complicated as cryptic command. But I thought this was absolutely brilliant. I would love to see more promos like this in the future, which was great. We also have the Commander League promo from Yuriko, Tiger Shadow. The Dominaria United promo is going to be Snapdax, Apex of the Hunt. And the Brothers War promo is going to be the Herald's Horn.
Nice.
Those are going to be available at APAC League events. So if you're hanging out and playing in the Asia Pacific area, then you're in luck.
So these will be available in English as well as Japanese, simplified Chinese, and traditional Chinese.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So check in with your WPN store to see how you can get your copies of these.
Yeah. So Wizards is making the Challenger decks once again, which is cool and fun. These are the decks that have 75 cards in them. You open them up, ideally you sleeve them and then you play. But they are real deal, ideally close to, fully powered standard decks. They, as usual, kind of went a little bit too far when they first came out. But they generally, at this point, if you buy 2 copies of most of these decks, you'll have a fully powered version of the deck that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So having stuff like 2 Skyclave Apparition in the mono white aggro deck is great, because again, you buy 2 copies and you have a whole playset, and then you even have 2 extra elite spellbinders.
It's nice too for people who are just getting back into things, and also coming out of the pandemic where, we weren't getting to play physical cards. Now nobody has had any physical cards in the last year and a half. So starting standard from scratch is really difficult. Keeping up with standard has always been a little bit on the pricey side. So getting decks like this allows us to get a good base for a deck at a reasonably discounted cost to help people with those introductions to getting back into limited.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not limited, standard.
Yeah.
And no stores are running standard right now. So I think something like this kind of needed to happen to re-spark some interest.
I'm particularly impressed with the mono white deck. The other decks are good, and if you buy 2 copies, you certainly will have the best version that you could possibly build of whatever you buy. But really, if you just bought one of either of any of these 4 decks, you're good to go at F&M. Of course, the consternation about the mono white aggro deck is that there are 3 copies of the card Faceless Haven in it, which perhaps you've heard that card is no longer legal in standard. And so we went back to a legality ruling that I did not think we would revisit. In that it's basically what happened with Stoneforge Mystic when Stoneforge Mystic was in standard. Stoneforge Mystic was also put into a standard pre-con
like event
kind
deck, something or other,
event deck, where they said only if you play the exact deck list can you play this card in a standard event. So if you play this exact deck list, you can play Faceless Haven. And honestly, this deck's pretty good, and that's kind of an okay selling point to just enter a tournament with this deck.
Yeah, so then we also have the regular standard version, not the Alchemy nerfed version. So the question is okay, we could add some more of these, but then we lose our Faceless Haven, and there's a good chance.
Right.
I mean, it was banned for a reason. There's a good chance it might just be better to run the Faceless Havens.
And somebody did note that, you know, getting 20 snow-covered plains in this deck,
not nothing.
It's great. Like, that's really sweet. So
the Dimir control deck also snow-covered.
Yeah.
So getting, you know, as many plain or islands and swamps as you can possibly get, you know, that's not nothing. So it's pretty good value.
Yeah. So they made Pioneer Challenger decks last year, and those blew up on the launch pad, and it was really awkward.
I mean, look, I don't blame the product for that. I blame the world for that.
Yeah, the world showed up and screwed it all up. So lots of those were busted for singles. Let's just put it that way. The Stranger Things secret layers are starting to make their way into players' hands, along with some really interesting behavior that they exhibit. Let's take a look here. It turns out that when you have a upside down creature, or creature from the upside down, it is literally printed upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you flip it over.
Cool.
And Magic's kind of on the wrong side, quote unquote. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I encourage everyone to go look up Mind Flayer on Scryfall, by the way. Because when you look it up on Scryfall,
oh my God,
it's upside down and you have to rotate it. Like you have to click the button to rotate it. So they're buying in. I think it's great. I think that this is awesome.
This is
the
amazing.
Hawkins National Lab is printed is topsy-turvied in such a way with the upside down.
It's on screen
the Mind
right now.
Flayer is printed with the Magic card back upside down. So when you play it, it's upside down.
It's upside down.
See what we're doing? Like, we have a thing, so let's do the thing.
It's
it doesn't.
so cool.
It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't make production any more difficult. So why not?
No, it's really cool. I'm glad to see that that's coming out. Unique things are always very cool.
Yeah, I love this. You know, you want to buy in as much as you can. Make it as thematic as humanly possible. And they really did. And that was awesome.
Yeah. I can't believe that they didn't just make everything upside down, but I guess it's better that that it's just the Mind Flayer
that's from the upside down.
The Hawkins National Lab. Yeah. I guess that's better.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's wonderful. You guys did a great job on that one.
Yeah.
Ruben, tell us a little bit about Wyatt Darby.
Well, why should I? No,
why should we?
So Wyatt Darby is a Pro Tour champion in Magic the Gathering, as well as a writer, done a lot of content creation, and more recently has been a streamer of Magic the Gathering content. But it seems as though he might be stepping back from that. Wyatt Darby MTG. He recently tweeted out, "You know, it seems that the part of my brain that is interested and engaged by Magic has finally broken. I was planning on returning to streaming today, but I think it's time for me to start something new. Thanks to everyone who supported me over the years. Heart you all."
Wow.
This says a lot to me for a couple of reasons. One, he was supposed to come back today and decided not to. So, and this tweet doesn't sound very like, I just need a few extra days off, guys, kind of feel. It does not have that. So, like, it's definitely something that has been on his mind, and maybe, like, at some point you don't, I don't know how to say this. Does this make sense to you guys?
Yeah,
like,
it's tough.
It must have been so hard to do this that he had to cancel last minute like that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, we've seen behavior like this before, but perhaps not quite so abrupt. And I also think that how young Wyatt Darby is compared to other people we've seen step away from Magic, it was a little bit jarring to see. I mean, he won Pro Tour Richmond when he was, I want to say 20. He might have been a little older than that, but it's not like he's an old man. And sort of came to this decision abruptly, but seemingly maturely. And sort of just decided that this was better for his I don't know if it was a mental health situation or if it was just something that he was looking at the future and deciding, you know, professional Magic isn't where I want to be.
There you go. So let's move on here to Desperate Ravens. So Hasbro had their Q4 financial year 2021 financial results, and it was really good for Hasbro. For 2021, Wizards had their best year ever with $1.287 billion in revenue. That's up 42% year over year. That's the money they took in, $1.2 billion. You wonder why Chris Cox is now the CEO of Hasbro. Yeah. That's a number you can look at. And $547 million in operating profit. That's 30% higher year over year, which also shows you some of the absurd margins that come with Wizards. The 5-year plan of doubling their revenue reached in 3. Like, damn. This was, you know, somebody recognized that there's just a lot of money on the table, whether it's selling singles or whether it's making variants. And so you go all in on the variants, you go all in on the singles with the variants, and suddenly you're selling $30 booster packs that have cards in them that cost the same amount to make as the other cards, you know, you're putting in precons or whatever. It's all the same amount of money for those cards. You just get to sell them for higher amounts. Like the Modern Horizons product, for example, is a higher tier of cost than a standard box, and a double masters box is even higher than that. So yeah, when you know your equity and you can squeeze the right way. So
yeah, I'm having difficulty every time we have one of these Hasbro makes more money than has ever been made before. Every time we have one of these Magic is doing the best ever stories, I am having trouble being excited about it anymore. Because I'm happy on the one hand that it seems as though Magic the Gathering, the game, will continue to survive and thrive and be popular. And I will get to keep talking about it on this here program.
For many years. By the
same token, it seems as though many of the cornerstones that I've looked at as a Magic player and a Magic fan have shifted and changed. And so while the sand on the beach is still there, my sand castles are getting washed away. And I don't know whether to be excited or just confused, because I know that there's a number of people who've been like, yeah, Magic's doing great, but it's not for me anymore. We literally just talked about one of them, right? So is it coming for me? Like, I don't know when it's going to be like, yeah, I don't care about Magic anymore because the things that I grew up with don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in regards to Wyatt, like, there is no competitive scene, right? There's nothing to strive for. And I know I have had very, very little desire to get good at a set, to master a set, because there's no GP I'm going to. I'm not traveling to a thing to do a thing and want to perform well. So that drive is a lot of what I enjoy about Magic, and that has been gone. So in my stream, half the time I'm just drafting. People are like, why are you playing your creatures pre-combat? And I'm just like, I just don't care. Yeah. That's why. Like, if I'm being honest. And I feel like I don't have this, like, okay, let's focus. Let's get into the zone. Let's get good. Let's make the best plays and have results. And I think that is what a lot of the pro scene likes. And that's part of the reason why they're getting out of it. And then to go by what you were saying, how your sandcastles are being washed away, I struggle with these sort of announcements, and people are getting excited because, you know, oh, Magic's doing well, so on, so on, so on. But like, then I just think about it. And I'm like, it was not that many months ago they tried to cut the prize pool for that big tournament, and they said that they couldn't afford it. Like, they actually said that. And now I feel kind of lied to. And that is a real feel bad.
Yeah, that's it's really gross. I feel like ultimately, you know, having talked to people in Wizards for many years, you know, back in the day, they would say things like, you know, we know the competitive scene and we know some of the casual bits, but there's the invisibles, you know, the invisibles that they never see, the invisibles that never go to the website, the invisibles that have no idea the Reddit exists, so on and so forth. And they talked about the invisibles for years. And I heard the invisibles being talked about over and over and over again. Well, it turns out the invisibles are commander players. And I don't know when exactly they put 2 and 2 together, but they said the Invisibles are the people at the kitchen table and they're playing Commander. And they woke up to that. And every decision thereafter has been like basically look through that lens. And is it cool for Commander players? No. Yeah. Well, then don't bother with it. And the more they've not bothered with things that Commander players don't care about, the more they've made money. So as we've said, they've cut, and they've made more and more and more. So it's hard to argue them do otherwise.
If they don't send Sheldon Menery a giant check for inventing this format,
just like some stock, right? A little something. I think they send him promo cards, and that's about
actual gold bricks is what they should be sending him. Nice.
My only hope is that if there are those at Wizards that, that I'm hoping there's bonuses and raises and people are getting paid well because they are performing. This is good quality work. I mean, a card has, printed Ninja instead of Rogue, whatever. The set's fantastic. I ain't worried about it. You know what I'm saying? All right. The Alchemy Roundup. Wizards of the Coast said they are looking for a true to tabletop non-rotating format. This is like going to a, firefighters convention and no one's talking about water. Well, you go to Arena and they're talking about a non-rotating format and they just don't say Pioneer. Pioneer Masters used to be on the roadmap. Remember when they even had a roadmap? It used to be on the roadmap. Pioneer is like right there. 100 of the top 100 cards of Pioneer added to Arena, you would have the format, like 90% of it, just from the get-go. So instead of 30 card Alchemy releases, trade in 3 of those, and let's get Pioneer. And there you have your non-rotating format that doesn't have to be affected by alchemy, and you can go just completely bonkers. Wasn't that the whole damn point? Wasn't that the whole point? Like, am I missing something?
I still think that that's the case. Now, when they made the alchemy announcement, there were comments like, when Pioneer comes on, it will be a paper format. So I think that this is just more legal speak, or maybe they want to call it Pioneer minus because they're not planning on putting the entire format there. Like you were saying, 100 cards. Yeah. Technically, that's not Pioneer unless everything is available that you could make on paper.
You're right.
So maybe they're just saying this to cover their butts, but I still have hope that it will be Pioneer, and I hope it is soon because I would love for the very disenfranchised people from who lost Historic as they love it to have a home.
I definitely undervalued how much people loved Historic the way it was. Because I didn't think Alchemy, famously, I was like, is this news? Like, is this a big deal? Like, we all saw this coming. And then, I guess we didn't all see it coming.
I just don't play as much as Historic as I used to. I don't think I've played Historic in like a month.
And I feel like part of that is because in general, the excitement level is lower because as soon as one person drops out, it does lower the tide a little bit, right? Sure. So much less hundreds of people who are suddenly jaded by these changes. They no longer have a place to play the cards that they love.
So here's one to rattle your brain on a little bit. They say, however, we do not plan to add a separate Historic queue that would exclude digital-only cards or rebalances. Our goal with each format on Arena is to give players a unique deck building and play experience, and having 2 formats that are slight tweaks of each other don't fulfill those requirements. What's standard? I'm sorry, is there standard in Alchemy? And they're very similar, and they just have a little bit of. Am I wrong? Did I miss something?
No,
Did I miss the memo?
I'm 100% with Evan on this.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
To branch standard into Alchemy and say that is a big format and not be able to do Historic back with the loss of the exact same freaking cards is a dumb statement.
You're not wrong.
That is a dumb statement.
Come on, guys. To not mention Pioneer and to sit there and have Standard and Alchemy Standard right there in front of God and everybody. Y'all, you're going to show your whole ass. We're going to tell you about it, all right? That's all I'm saying. We're going to let you know.
It's definitely a stupid statement that was run through the legal ringer multiple times. I think that what I take from this is that whoever had to write this statement was shaking their head the whole time they had to write this article and wrote it in such a way as to speak to us, right? I think that the way that you interpret this article and the way that we are interpreting this article is, this is what we have to say right now, but trust me, Pioneer is coming. And when it comes, you'll have a place to play your cards.
That would be nice.
I stand by the fact that I think Alchemy is a cool idea, and that I think that Historic was always supposed to be this. The problem is that they gave us 3 years of no alchemy, and then switched gears on us without giving us a replacement. So that's the problem.
I agree. I think that this was always the plan, and I don't fault them for it. But I do think that taking away the Eternal format without giving us the replacement was very unfair to those players who loved that format.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, okay, that was weird. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to turn the corner here to the finisher. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is the wordiest Magic set of all time. With an average of more than 189 words per front side, the newest Magic release has edged out Kaldheim and taken the new top spot. Magic is getting wordier and nerdier, and there's only so much room on each card's real estate. So tell me, what's the next frontier for verbose verbiage, Ruben?
The only way to go is down. I know Wizards doesn't like to drop the font size into single digits, but that's all that's left. So I'm excited for the next big, small product, Secret Lair, Ant-Man.
Wow. Nerd Girl?
All right. Well, textless cards are the way to go. Wizards of the Coast just recently showed off their new art-only Jedit just recently. So it's time to return to the world of textless promos, starting with the easiest to understand card Magic has ever printed, Felidar Sovereign. Dang it, Ruben.
Ouch.
They don't read the jokes ahead of time.
They don't read the jokes. That's important. Lots of words, quote unquote, is exciting, but we can get more. We can be denser. We can be more involved. We can get more complicated. Why waste time, say lot word, when few word do trick? My idea is to cull all of the these, A's, and ands from future printings. Basically, do to the cards what SCG did to their website. Just remove the articles.
That might be the best joke I've ever written.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Just remove the articles.
Too soon.
Might be the funniest joke I've ever written.
Oh my god, Ruben.
Wow.
You know, you pie the gold, you know, you look for the gold and you try to find it, and every once in a while, there it is. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Ruben.
Hey, thank you so much.
Be proud, buddy.
Good seeing everybody.
Good seeing everyone.
And stick around. We are going to raid Nerd Girl after this.
Here in just a moment. Yeah. So we're going to go to our outro slide. Nerd Girl can officially slide back into her stream. And that ends another live episode of our show. We want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com and Alter Sleeves. Use the code MagicMics at AlterSleeves.com. Of course, my co-host, MTG Nerd Girl, and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening. Hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Or join us here next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.